Borivali.
All right.
So
Okay.
some parts it's not bad.
Okay. And whoever's on Geo is having a hard time in our area. So was Madhura, but now apparently hers is. So what a day this was. I'll just switch on some more lights, please.
Parts it's not bad.
Satyam, is Sejal joining us?
Sejal should join us.
Yeah, because this is totally what she was doing. So,
Yeah, we're live, okay, guys, we're live.
all right.
She did join the Create class earlier today, so she should be able to join here. I'll check.
No worries. No worries. No worries.
Rakshita, you have share screen whenever you are ready for it. We're good to go. We're good to go.
Great. So nice to see you all after the 15-day gap. And we have the good news is that we've actually finished half the book, which I think is really super. So prose and entire poetry is done. I think at some point we should have some kind of revision work. So let's put our minds to it and see what we can do about that. So today we start section 3, which is called writing skills. And some are writing skills, and some, what we're doing today, the last topic of the writing skills is the art of comparing. So this is more about speaking, but ultimately when you're speaking at any kind of formal function, or frankly, even at an informal function, I think one needs to be very well prepared, and to be very well prepared, you need to have written down at least your points. So, oh, this is lovely. It's nice and big on the screen. Thank you, Rakshita. That really works. So I'm just going to start reading. I wanted to start with this topic because we just finished Pehchaan Junction. And we hope that, of course, all of you were present, and we hope that many of the mentees were also present. So they can immediately identify with the roles of Jisha and Sejal. And so I think a lot of the time when we are showing the points which come up in the chapter, we can immediately form an analogy with what Jisha or Sejal did, and that kind of brings it live for them to see. They can also go back and watch it on YouTube, and that'll make it even nicer. So, a person who compares a show introduces the program and the participants. Okay, so here's the first thing, introduces the programs and the participants, is also called the Master of Ceremonies, abbreviated as MC or EMC, or the compare, the anchor, the announcer, and microphone controller. I haven't heard that before, but that's what it is. So, all important words here, please, for you to have to explain. Anchor. Okay, so immediately you go to the anchor of a ship, is what stabilizes the ship, which holds it in position, correct? So securing the boat firmly. So basically the anchor works in the same way, figuratively, metaphorically. The anchor is holding the entire program together. Okay? Holding the entire program firmly in the palm of his or her hand. So she is the anchor. She is the announcer. Obviously, that's easy. We'll announce people who are going to be coming up, who are going to speak, the events, whatever is going to be part of that day's program. So these are the various things that the compare does. He is mediator, announcer, and coordinator of the event. Okay, mediator, if you're having some kind of debate, if you're having some kind of discussion, who is the mediator? The mediator is the facilitator, the person who calls on each party to speak and to express their views, perhaps also gives a time limit to each person to speak, as would be in a debate, perhaps even controls the speakers, ensures that what the program stays on the right track, which are some of our TV anchors could learn a little about. Also keeps the discussion moving in the direction that the program wants it to move, right? And doesn't digress into other points. So the compere is also a mediator. He's an announcer, of course, announcer. And now we have a folk dance from the kids at Pehchaan. So he's an announcer, right? He announces what's going to happen. He's a coordinator. So he builds a thread of continuity between what is going to happen. All this is going to be explained again, but just making it easy for you to explain to your mentee. The master of ceremonies is an apt description of the anchor, as he or she is the formal host and the facilitator of the event. There can be a wide range of events, right from highly formal ones like seminars or conferences to informal ones like annual gatherings, freshers' parties, or weddings, right? Who's a fresher, guys?
Someone who's new.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. In case they ask, someone who's new to anything. So it could be like a welcome party for those who have just joined office, an organization, those who have just joined Pehchaan. It could be anything, right? The role of an MC is to warm up the crowd. Is it written here warm off the crowd? That's obviously a typo, and I've changed it to warm up the crowd. So what do you mean to warm up the crowd? Just to get them all interested in what's going to happen, to get them enthusiastic, and give them an idea of the program ahead. He, she is here to glorify the performance of all the performers with his, her appropriate positive comments and appreciation. And hence it is his unsaid role to ensure enthusiasm amongst the viewers with active response in the form of an applause. So come on, let's give them a big hand, please. And now we have this fabulous performance by Ananya Matre coming up. And Ananya is this very proficient Bharatanatyam dancer, blah, blue, right? So to warm up the crowd, to praise the items or the speakers or the performers, not themselves, all right? It is to facilitate and to get the audience to warm up to the performance or to whatever is going to take place on that stage on that day. Okay, great. He has to make sure that there are smooth transitions between different segments of the program. In fact, he has to master the skill of stringing or weaving the whole event in one artistic thread, right? So keep it moving in a logical sequence to somehow create some kind of continuity in the event so that it looks like different parts of the event are all part of one whole. In fact, at the same time, should there be any hiccups, the MC still has to ensure the smooth movement of the program. Like, for instance, which is happening all the time, you're online, somebody's connection goes, whatever happens, you don't get signal, the MC or the compere has to be there to have a filler to make sure that the program goes smoothly, to call on another speaker. He needs to have already thought of what would happen if there is a hiccup or any problem. What is a hiccup? A sudden little break or a problem in the proceedings. Like you have a program, you're following the program and suddenly something happens, which also we had provided for in Pehchaan Junction, as you all know. Ultimately, her presence on the stage should exhibit spontaneity, originality, and genuineness. However much the person is prepared, what he or she speaks should not sound over practiced. It should come across spontaneously, genuinely. There should be some kind of sincerity in what she or he is saying. One should feel that the compere really feels what they are saying. The words of the speaker should choreograph his or her body language to carry him, her through the program with ease, grace, elegance, and confidence. Okay, so here we are talking about body language, spontaneity, originality, genuineness, body language. Frankly, the only thing in this chapter which is of any consequence are what qualities does an MC or compere really need to make it successful. So now that we have ascertained what the role of an MC is, now here we finish the role, here are some insights. how to be a good MC, right? Practice, practice, practice. Better in front of a mirror, which is what I was telling all these kids when they were practicing with me. Be well prepared and word perfect to innovate and add spontaneous, gone a bit up, to spontaneous expressions confidently on stage. Develop a script. This is something that I feel is like super important. Dress up appropriately for the event. I'm sure you all can explain all these very well. Appropriately for the event again. Remember what the event is, catered specifically to the event. Of course, if it's a super formal event, then you have a certain dress code. You know that. Give the example of your road track events where you'll definitely have a dress code. Of course, if it's just a fun event, then it's a different issue. Remember that you are not the star of the show, but introduce yourself. So the MC introduces herself or himself, but then shines the light or emphasizes the performers or the speakers who are to come after, right? We already used, this already came before. Okay. Breathe deeply and steadily. Sometimes people keep talking at length without breathing and then break up in the middle of sentences. That sounds terrible. Address the audience with a smile, a suitable expression, voice modulations, maintain eye contact, bring pace to your delivery. Any of these you all want to discuss in further depth, please just stop me. Control the timing of the proceedings, very important. We don't want to overrun. Every program has some kind of time that you have assigned to it, perhaps an hour, half an hour. So it's up to the MC to see that nobody overruns the time that they have. Apologize should there be a major flaw, a mistake, or a mishap. I think for all these points, we can really use Pehchaan Junction as a super example, because I think and I'm very proud to say that I think we really did practice all these things. And therefore, I have to say, even if I brag, that it turned out really well. Only one more point I would like to add here, which is coming later. Who are you talking to? Very important. Like, who is the MC talking to, right? Really, really important. That is gauging the nature of the function, right? So if you're talking at a college function, which is a formal function, then of course you're talking more respectfully. You have your principal, you have people of your professors present, and therefore you use a different way of talking. If you have your formal Rotaract event or a formal Pehchaan event, again, you might need to be a little more formal to greet the dignitaries and proceed in that manner. You will have to introduce dignitaries, greet them appropriately, address them appropriately. But on the other hand, if you're having just a Pehchaan reconnect or something far more informal, then of course, again, you will greet, but you will greet it in another style. So who are you talking to would be a very important point, which is not said here. The same thing, understanding the nature of the event and therefore behaving and conversing in an appropriate fashion. Okay. Comparing requires language fluency, clarity of thought, and confidence. A basic understanding of the nature and tone of the event is a must, which is what I've been speaking about. A simple and dignified style with words that comes from the heart. Again, we don't need to use very big words. We don't use very complex sentences. After all, everyone in the audience should be able to understand. That is the meaning of simple. And a dignified style. The MC must always remain dignified, all right, with words that come from the heart. And as I've said again, understanding the nature of the event, which is super important. So they have given an example of somebody comparing a show. And, oh, sorry, next page. Okay. Ability to work with the technicals, that especially for me, event organizers, guest speakers, it is part of his duty and profession to be able to do that. So if you were the MC of something online, then obviously you would have to deal with all this kind of stuff too. While anchoring, the most crucial thing is to keep the audience engaged. Fillers are small performances, enactments to keep the audience entertained and attentive. I think what is a filler? You may have to explain that to fill in gaps which may occur during the program. So that is also the MC's job to do. The role of a filler can also be that of providing comic relief between two performances. Sometimes you have little jokes or little amusing events which the MC might relate. Again, always keeping in mind the nature of the event and what the audience you are speaking to. They are usually required when the schedule of the program is delayed or disturbed for some reason. One can choose from multiple types of fillers, mimicry items, riddles, anecdotes, fun facts, jokes, recitation, blah, blah. The compere should always keep the filler ready beforehand so that just like she keeps the script ready, because fillers are as important, and maintain the continuity of the program. Okay, so I think everything was really simple here. Anyone wants to say anything? Anyone wants to ask anything? Go ahead. So what they've given in the book and the guide, they've given this what they call a web. Are you all familiar with this? So in the center, it says essential qualities of a good compare, you know, and then they have those like spokes on all the sides, and then you can write in-depth knowledge, confidence, understanding the nature of keeping fillers ready, having a script ready, you know, that's basically the only question that they've really looked at. Also stuff like what are the qualities of a compare? Again, this is just like cut, copy and paste from the chapters, nothing to think about. All right. So we're going to, Rakshita is going to quickly read through the example of the comparing that they've given. I think it would be fun also if you all will unfortunately have to read through with them. It will take up a lot of your time, but at the end of it, perhaps you could, if you have 10, 15 minutes left, just do an informal, okay, come on, now you're a compare of X or Y. So, you know, how would you like to take it, or what kind of program would you like to see, or something like that. Rakshita, would you like to start, please?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yep, perfectly.
Sample comparing script. Introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to you on behalf of our college. Today, we have organized an event of song, dance, and pageantry for you, giving you a quick exotic taste of India. We welcome you in our midst in a traditional Indian way with kumkum tilak on the forehead. It is red to signify the auspicious occasion, the arti to remove the evil eye, and with sacred fire and the trumpet signaling the beginning of the function. Lighting of the lamp. I call upon our chairperson, Mrs. Dash, to light the lamp to signify the opening of our event. About the event, our country, India, is historically ancient, spiritually deep, geographically vast, and culturally rich. She has traditions, customs, and mores which are thousands of years old.
Can we
Though
stop for a
making
second? Sorry.
fast progress. Yes, ma'am.
No, so I just wanted to say, so please
Should
see
I?
the appropriate welcome. Okay, that's done. Please see that they have addressed the function the way it should be. You can draw your mentees' attention to these points, please. How the compare has addressed everyone. Since it appears it's a college function and it is obviously very formal, therefore the lighting of the lamp and those kind of things, because it's very formal. Okay, so understanding the function and the audience, very important. The welcome is the appropriate welcome has been done. Okay, the next, as Rakshita is going to read, you will, the next point, which is important in a in-depth knowledge of the topic, what the show is going to be about. Please, Rakshita. Sorry to have disturbed.
Though making fast progress in the 21st century, her music, dance, drama, and language survive and renew themselves continuously through the ages. We offer you this evening a tantalizing glimpse of Indian culture, We shall try to take you to various corners of India and introduce you to the different folk dance hailing from these places, unerring, depicting the geography, history, and character of its people. The enduring legend of Lord Krishna and his beloved Radha is embodied in a folk dance we are about to present to you in the Lavani. The word Lavani comes from the word Lavanya, which means unearthly beauty. It is the best loved and sorry, wait a second, yeah, and very popular folk performance originating in our very own state of Maharashtra. It consists of a range of romantic songs in Marathi. The Lavani, like all folk forms, has evolved and changed through the ages. Initially, the Lavani was performed in a bethak or a sitting position accompanied by adakari or skillful and subtle facial expressions and gestures. The Lavani even evolved to become a khadi Lavani or a Lavani performance in standing position, whereby the performer not only sings but dances along with the song. The songs are supposedly sung by gopis or milkmaids who epitomize bhakti or devotion to Lord Krishna or the Lord of Love. The songs are a celebration of the love between Lord Krishna and Radha and depict the playful aspects of their relationship. The Lavani embodies the Shringar Ras. Shringar meaning decoration and dressing up, and Ras is a mood that is created. Entry one. So these are so basically she will the person who's narrating will now be talking through the entries of all the people so that people know what's going on stage. So entry one. Let's get into the mood and enjoy the scintillating Lavani performance. Now put your hands together for a round of applause for this wonderful performance. After the performance was over, she made them clap. Now, the second entry. Nagaland is one of the culturally rich northeastern states of India. The Jilian bamboo Naga dance hails from this state. Now, the performance happens, and then that was an awesome performance.
Yeah, excuse me, Rakshita, 1 second. So here you can show again how the compare is building the mood, building the enthusiasm, right? Let's get into the mood, etc. And then now put your hands together, getting them to applaud the correct. So you can point out in the script how every point of what we discussed earlier is now showing up. So give them an example. Yes, with the appropriate voice tone, great. And also look at three things here and building the enthusiasm and mood of the audience, eliciting applause from them, and glorifying the performance, right? Not going on talking about themselves because the MC is not the point of the show, right? It's only the facilitator, correct? Glorifying the performance. Wonderful. Thank you. Entry 3.
Shall I read through all the
Please.
entries? That was an awesome performance. Entry 3. Jillian means butterfly. The dance attempts to imitate the movements of the butterfly, and the dancers wear clothes as colorful as the butterfly's wings. Their movements too are as delicate and graceful as a butterfly's. The dancers wear costumes made of rabbit skin, deer, and other animals. The special attraction of this dance is that the dancers jump on bamboos as they dance with great energy and stamina. Um, just to make it clear, if you want to tell your kids what this dance is about, they make like a grid of bamboo and you basically keep jumping from one box to the other. It's really fun to watch. Performance is over. Give them a huge round of applause. Let's now welcome our vibrant northeastern dancers for another captivating performance. Sambhalpuri is a small district of the state of Orissa, which lies in the southeastern part of India. It is rich in ancient Indian arts and crafts, with This tiny district is famous for its handlooms and weaves. The Sambalpuri dance is, like many other folk dances, a harvest dance. So here you can give a reference to the chapter that we did regarding harvest, moong over microchips. A celebration dance. The hay surrounding the area where the dance is to be performed is set on fire, and in this firelight, the native folks celebrate a good harvest. Let's get into the celebratory mode and rejoice a bountiful harvest. The closing address. We are transported into the world of folk, the natural string of the human heart. As we come to the end of this beautiful, colorful evening, let us carry with us the memories of a time well spent. Vote of thanks. I think we at Pehchaan also feel that saying a big thank you to the people who attend, to the people who have facilitated your program is very important. I mean, Freya's ma'am practically stayed for 2 hours after the session was over to thank almost every person who had come, almost every parent who attended. So, no program would be a success without a dedicated team of people who work tirelessly behind the scenes. I take this opportunity to thank each and every member of the organizing team for putting up this brilliant show and transporting us to the plentiful fields of India. We are extremely grateful to our guests for their gracious presence. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the choreographers, set designers, light operators, as well as technical support team without whom this program would have not been possible. Last but not the least, thank you audience for being so supportive and responsive.
Thanks, Rakshita. So basically, I think the script as they've given to us shows up all the points which they're trying to make, right? Developing a good script, having a good introduction, being appropriate about audience, being appropriate about who you're talking to, speaking correctly, any little kind of ceremonial thing like lighting the lamp or whatever you need to do for the event. In-depth knowledge of the topic really shows here because introducing each dance and saying something about it, building the enthusiasm of the audience, setting the mood, eliciting the response, glorifying the performers, finally the vote of thanks, which is also, of course, super important. Okay, so this was like, I mean, really simple. This is going to fall into your lap. It's just so easy. And if you're like, you could just pick up any kind of function and ask them to like, let's just build a script around it very, very briefly. Like, what would you like to say? What would you do? How would you start? How would you end? What would you like to see in a program? What would you like to include in a program? If you had, I mean, if you had the opportunity to state something, what would you like? What would you like? It's all really simple. I think even the language is super simple, and there's really going to be no grief with this. So we are done in
Can we
29
make the
minutes.
participants practice this?
It would be lovely actually if we could do something,
Yeah.
about it later. I mean, getting few of the kids together also. So any ideas, anybody? Anyone like
Ma'am, I was going to ask when I was reading this composition. I was just going to ask that if we all can just give an entry, not a speech, but an entry, an introduction about themselves. So we can start over here, and we'll also get an idea that how we can do it, in a creative way. Like
I think
everybody
that's-
has their own creative ways.
I think that's great. I think that's a great idea. So we'll do that before we end this class. What other ideas can we implement for making this resonate with the participants?
Ma'am, I had an idea.
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, I was thinking of combining the revision of the chapters that we did on the onset of our sessions with the speech giving part. So it would be great if we could have talk to our mentors and make them give a speech about the chapters that we did. So, like, if you were to, present that chapter, or the author of that chapter was coming to your college, and if you were to invite that author, if you were to talk about your chapter, what were a few important facts that you would pick up? so that it becomes an interesting session for
Very
the
good.
audience.
And it reinforces what they need to know also.
Yeah. Such
Yeah.
a creative idea, Rakshita. What are most from what we've covered today, from what you and Rashna have covered today, what type of exam questions can come for the participants?
So basically, Freyas, the only questions that I see are the very obvious ones, like what are the qualities of a good compare?
Okay.
And there was that. And the other one was more or less just that was in that web style, or qualities of a compare is just coming all over the place, just in different ways. Imagine you are a compare of a prize distribution ceremony of your college. Write a script. Okay.
Yes.
So they've already given you the points, of course. Introduction, welcome speech, welcome song. I mean, of course, you can't write that. But, like just write out how you would follow the program through. So,
I think we can combine what you have just said with Rakshita's idea. So when they present that to us, then they follow the steps, the welcome, the this, everything to do with the respective chapter that they are going to present or poem that they are going to present. I think that way they'll remember the flow also. And then when they are presenting it, if we as the mentors can remind them of what are the qualities of a compare, and again we keep on reinforcing that, I think that would be a fun, creative way for them to imbibe this, especially since a handful of them are doing the Create Foundation, where they are just learning how to project their voices, and so we can reinforce the qualities and this. What do you all think about that? No,
great
yes.
idea, but I'm not completely sure about what you mean. I got what Rakshita meant, that each person speaks about one of the chapters, but how do you mean about making it into an
Okay.
event, or that I didn't
So
get?
no, not event. Like, so if you are saying the stages are welcoming everybody, then
Correct. Yeah,
giving an
yeah.
introduction to the
Yes.
topic, concluding there are steps, right, that they have
Right.
to go through. So when they are presenting that particular chapter to their mentors, they will go through those steps when they are presenting it to them. Welcome everybody to my presentation of Mr. Annis, and you will find it listed on page such and such of the FYJC textbook. Then the second part, which is it explains to us
Okay,
XYZ.
great. Like a short synopsis of the story, or
Yes.
yeah, something like that.
Thank you all for joining us today. We want to thank you for taking your valuable time. Whatever the
Very good.
respective
Yeah,
steps
yeah.
are.
Something important, a message that the chapter gave.
Yes.
Something
Yes.
just very small and brief, but yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. And I think that would give them a idea of, oh, I remember I did this, I did the welcome, I did the this, I did the this. I went through all the steps
Lovely.
when I was presenting this. So it's doing the reinforcement, it's getting the chapter done, it's getting them to present in a creative way. Worth a shot to kind of see. Mohammed, you had your hand raised. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes. So, ma'am, if we think in a written paper perspective, English paper, so they have a 3 hour paper and it's also too long. The paper is too long and it's like the cut to cut timing. Okay. And when I also used to write the paper, I used to see that each and every this writing skills. So we had around 3 to 4 writing skills we had to do in a timeline. So I used to see that I used to complete each and everything between 5 to 7 minutes because the paper is too long.
Hmm.
We need to tell them that how to complete this on time, because if they take a lot of time in just writing and thinking, so they won't complete the paper. And plus they have specific marks for like introduction, they might have half mark in the
Yes, he's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yes. So
so
what
they
I'm saying is, when we are doing these things, we should do what Mohammed is saying. We should prepare them for how to write the paper also successfully. See, I didn't do college in India, so I don't know these things off the top of my head. So, but if you know this, then you have to prepare them adequately, right? So these are things we would, tips and tricks and, things we would tell them. so that they could successfully write this portion of the paper. So we have amazing ideas. To Rakshita's idea, Mohammed has added, Rashna has added. It's all just coming together so nicely, and that's what we love about this, right? The brainstorming together. Mohammed, you wanted to do one practice through over here, right? Yeah. So can Rakshita, can you tell us the steps again, please? The stages.
Shall I put them up again, ma'am?
I think that'll help. Yes, please. Just really quickly so we can take a look at them. Oh, okay.
These were the tips which they've given.
Oh,
To
these
be
were
a
the
good
tips.
MC. Yeah,
Okay.
these were the tips. But little later on, they have in a question, they have said that if you were the compare, what perhaps, so we could really just put it into welcome.
Yes.
Actually, if somebody types fast, if you
I'm going to type it in the chat.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So we could just put it down as welcome. Introduction. So what are you going to do today, right? Introduction. Then actually the body of the passage, or whatever the discussion on what, or a few lines on what you are presenting today, or your presentation, your actual presentation.
Okay.
Right? Or topic. Yeah, that's great. And then perhaps a personal opinion, or a message that comes through from the topic, or something a bit personal, and then the thanks.
Great.
Right? And I think there should be a time given, something very short, because as Mohammed says, you got to finish the whole written question in kind of 5 minutes. So maybe here you give just 2 or 3 minutes to the person to speak. We're speaking much faster, and they're going to be prepared, right?
Yes.
So you all set a time, like what kind of time do you think is realistic?
I think this is superb. So, Mama, do you want? Oh, he popped. His signal must have gone. Oh no, he's there. So, Mama, we want to go through these steps just now and take a turn to go through different topics so that we know how we are flowing. I think this is fun.
Yeah.
I'll get to see Ananya smile, Rakshita smile, Mohammed smile, Arushi. All right. So it's such a shame that we're having an electrical outage today and so many kids couldn't join us, but hopefully they'll catch up with us on YouTube. Mama, do you want to start?
If I may add one thing, sorry, Fred, if I may add, in the introduction, one may also just shed a little bit of light on the author or the poet, something like that. And in the last part where you're talking about, well, your opinion or whatever you learned, you may also shed a little light on the style, if it is a poem, or what is it? Is an article? It's a story. It's a short story. It's part of a drama. What is it, right? So I mean, that could also be something that could be shared.
Ma'am, to add on to Rashna ma'am's point, I think this is an opportunity for them to detach themselves from the academic aspect of their work and their text and look at it as art, and to embrace the beauty of the poem as in their syllabus.
Great.
Superb. I love this. This is like collaboration at its best. Totally love this. Everyone building on everybody else's ideas. This is amazing. Mama, why don't you start us off with the example? Why don't you start us off with the example, and then we let Ananya, Rakshita, Arushi, whoever I can see on video, whose signal is still strong, we can work with that. You want to try, Mama, to set an example, and then we'll follow suit?
Yes. So I'll just take a topic which is given in the textbook about an award ceremony. So a college annual day award ceremony.
Sure.
Welcome everyone, my friends, my fellow friends, teachers, and my respective principal. Today we are gathered here for our annual day. After a long year, after a long productive year, when we come together, it's such loving to see each and every one of us putting out everything what we have in the year and coming and receiving awards and appreciation for whatever we have done. Okay, so today we have a lineup of performances. Even we have award ceremonies for the distinction students and who have excelled in this year. So calling upon our principal, Miss Neelam Arora, to give a few words. Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring words. We hope we will uh, mark the standards in the next year. Thank you so much, ma'am. So calling upon Satyam for a speech. Thank you, Satyam, for that incredible, inspiring words. And I've seen your progress. Hope have a we will also try to do our best in the next year. So, guys, we if we all aren't getting prizes or appreciations this year, it doesn't mean that we have done something bad. It's just that we have room to excel more. And yes, everybody gets a chance to prove themselves, and we will get ours. So congratulations for whoever has received their awards and appreciations. See you all soon in the class. Have a good day.
Well done, Mohammed. Well done. Right.
He's
So
doing this all the time now. Good job.
yeah, so we're getting the flow, we're getting, we're getting it down, we're getting the qualities in. I think it's great. So basically, there are two main things that Rakshita and Rashna have taught us that we need to get to our mentees: the qualities of a compare and the actual points, which we've put in the chat, the flow. So, and the third thing Mohammed has brought to our attention, you have to write it within 5 to 7 minutes. You cannot be taking more than that. So these are the three core things on Thursday. You're going to make sure your mentees learn and your mentees imbibe these three core things, right? Ananya or Arushi, in the interest of time, we'll just let one more of you go. Who would like to try? It's spontaneous and it's just flowing.
I can try.
Okay, chalo.
Uh, so this is an installation ceremony of
No installation, no college function. Now
Then-
pick something else. Installation, Pehchaan junction, college ceremony, all off the table. Topics are done.
suggest something.
We are supposed to be taking chapters from the book,
Yes,
right?
so take a chapter
So this
from the
is going to
book.
be really hard with the book not in front of them.
Oh, and you've taught it.
Yeah, I
So-
know, but it's been a
But
while.
I can't remember the
Yeah,
whole
you can't
chapter.
possibly
But
remember
thodu
it.
thodu to you remember, right? You remember the Little Women ka chapter and that Mr. Whoever, and you remember,
Oh,
na?
yeah.
Thodu thodu.
Peter and Tom and
Who are those guys?
Yeah, there is no Peter or Tom in Little Women.
Peter and Tom is in Mrs. Addis.
Yes, darling.
Okay, so then talk about Mrs. Addis. um, or even the Hills Wala chapter, where we saw so much.
Okay, so while you guys, I'm giving you 2 minutes to get your thoughts in order.
Yes, or any one of
And
the
I'm doing
poems.
one.
We did
Okay,
so
because I
many
mean, this is
poems.
so unfair because I have the textbook in front of me. Okay. Good evening,
Any one of the
everybody,
poems.
and welcome to my 2 minutes on the chapter one of the chapters we've read, which is the Pillars of Democracy. Pillars of Democracy is an article written by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and being Indians, we all know that he was the architect of our Indian Constitution, a very, very important part of our country and in fact of our entire lives. You do know that the Indian Constitution is one of the highly acclaimed constitutions of the world. It is the longest constitution. It encompasses everything, our social, economic, all parts of our life. In the article, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar mainly highlights three important points. The first point that he highlights is that the need for constitutional methods to be used. Having a constitutional, we have remedies for many of the ills which plague our society. And in Dr. Ambedkar's opinion, the average citizen, the government, and in fact, everyone in the country should embrace these constitutional methods for problem solving. However, tempting it might be to sometimes resort to unconstitutional means. The second point that he makes is that as Indians, we tend to hero worship very often people who are our leaders. And we could do that so long as it does not come in the way of our freedoms, of our liberties, of our constitution. We should not confuse patriotism with hero worship. The third point which Dr. Ambedkar makes is one of fraternity. Unfortunately, our society is riddled with many evils. The one which he highlights the most is the caste system, which divides our society into very many groups. And uh, Dr. Ambedkar suggested and he advocated for people to move beyond the caste system and to see all of us Indians as a whole and embrace fraternity in the true sense of the word. These were the three messages which he gave us. In my opinion, that in today's world, these messages are very, very important to us, probably even more important than they were when Dr. Ambedkar thought of these and framed the Constitution. Thank you so much for listening to me and for giving me your time today. Oh, but I have the book, so I'm cheating.
Yay, Rashna!
Okay, so this is how we can prepare the kids and like whatever they like. This is like one of the easy ones to do. Okay, the poems will be difficult. Yeah.
So Ananya, you got a better idea now?
But she doesn't have the book. I'm so sorry. Wait.
All right. Well, our kids will have the chapters with them, and
Yeah.
maybe we can tell them ahead of time. You can send them a message so they can prepare for it. But like see, in this class, Rashna is your coach, right? So just as she was prepared and could do an example impromptu on the spot, or impromptu for you to see how it's done, you should be prepared to do that for your mentee. So your mentee can see how it is done and then follow suit, right? So all of you should be prepared, just like Rashna went through this, with either one of the poems or the prose or something, so that they get an idea. Because 9 times out of 10, they will say, Didi samajh mein nahi aa raha hai. Didi kya karna hai? So now if you do it and show it to them, they will know, just like Rashna did it. But this was a super, since we're talking about master classes, this was a super example. Even she didn't know that this is something she would have to do today, right? It was something we brainstormed, and then she said, okay, let me show my kids, let me give my kids an example and do it on the spot. And as teachers, as coaches, as mentors, we have to have enough of our confidence in place and enough of our knowledge base in place so that we can do things like this impromptu for our mentees, right? That's what's going to prepare them to be that way when they become mentors also. So Rashna, thank you for that. That was awesome.
Thank you. Can we have sorry, friends,
what your idea did?
If we have a few people prepared, why don't we one day get on Zoom? I mean, by all means, at my GK timing, I'll be so happy, but Freya's won't be there. And actually let them come on and speak their 2-3 minutes, because I think it would be so nice to give them the exposure.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, let's really do it. Give them time to prepare. There's no rush. You mentors also are busy, so it doesn't matter. Let them choose their favorite chapter or poem. If you need it again, please let me know. Many of them have books, okay? This is what I've come to learn. They've either borrowed from people, people who finished. I've given out a few to those who have met. So if they could choose their favorite poem or chapter, and then with your help, just literally write 1 or even 1 minute. It doesn't matter.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And our GK sessions can start with that 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then the GK can continue. That will give them more impetus to write it, practice it, present it,
Yeah.
and that way they learn
Yeah.
it also. Love,
We can
love.
do that, or we can have a session where we'll have a lot of speakers and then do something about
Oh,
this kind of topic.
super.
Yeah.
Great. So can we make that come to life, please, with our mentees? So we'll
So
tell you the date and time that we will do that. Most likely the following Friday. So you'll do it with them this Thursday, and then the following Friday we'll pull together whoever wants to make those presentations, and we'll do that.
we
Okay.
could, Freyas, if you have time, we could just have a call also just to do them. And people who want to join in as audience or
Yeah.
whatever, get
We'll do that on
inspired.
Friday.
Now
We'll
that's
get
a
that
big word.
scheduled.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rashna, I didn't mean to speak over you.
No, no.
We'll get that scheduled for next Friday. We'll actually put a time and everything in place so our mentors can plan to be there, our other mentees can plan to be there, and we'll have a list, and we'll have a comparing this. Who's
Great
best,
idea.
who's
Yeah, yeah,
this,
yeah.
who's
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So it'll flow very nicely. Rakshita, this is what happens. You put an idea down, then someone builds, then someone builds, then someone builds. And by the time it's done, it's not whose idea was it, because it just built. And I love that. Collaboration is the best way to work, I feel. And you young people, youth for youth, seriously, you all keep us functioning the way that we are. So it's superb. So we have a plan now, right? So on Thursday, you're going to touch on 3 main things with them. Arushi, what's the first thing, darling?
The subtopics, like the subtopic of the
Okay.
script.
Okay.
the-
And Anya, what's another thing?
I got distracted. Sorry.
No distractions allowed. Satyam, what is the second thing, please?
Could you please repeat the question?
The question is, what are the 3 main things we are going to cover with them on Thursday? What are the 3 main things we're going to cover with them on Thursday? And Arushi said the flow, the welcome, the introduction, the body, the thanks. What is the second thing?
We need to make them prepared for a topic, for a chapter, so that
No,
they
that's not one of
can
the
bring.
3 things. That's how we're going to teach them these 3 things. What are the 3 things? Okay, I'm going to repeat. The qualities of a compare, the qualities of a compare. Okay, that's the first thing you're going to teach them. Second thing you're going to teach them is the flow, the welcome, the body, the conclusion, the introductions, etc. And the third thing you're going to teach them is how to write it on their paper within 5 minutes to 7 minutes. These are the 3 main things you're going to teach them. How are you going to teach it to them? Using one of the chapters or poems that they have already learned, already read as practice. That's the method, that's the topic to make them learn these 3 things. Are we sorted? Are we clear what we are doing? So let's try this again. Ananya, what is the first thing we're teaching them on Thursday?
Qualities of a compare.
Excellent. Mohammed, second thing.
The flow and the body.
Great. Satyam, third thing. Satyam's signal is, I know, and his charging is also not. Arushi, third thing, beta.
Write it in 5 to 7 minutes, how to prepare it.
Perfect. And you're going to use what as your base, Rakshita? You're going to use what as your base?
One of our chapters is the example that we should try and prepare beforehand.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. That's what you're going to do on Thursday. Then you are also going to tell them that the following Friday, we're going to get together where they're going to present this. No more than 2 minutes for each one. All right. Brilliant. So what started out as learning about comparing has now graduated to actually practicing and putting themselves out there. All right. Okay. Superb. Lovely. Good start to my day. Let me tell you, I needed this.
Yes, if we can shut the light, then if we
Yes.
can just
All
stay
right.
on for a minute.
All right. So
Please.
now that
Thank you.
this whole section
Thank
is
you
over,
very
now
much.
mentors know what they need to do. Thank you very much for whoever was joining on the live that couldn't join on Zoom. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next week. All right. 1 second, please. Stop.